What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Welcome, everybody. It is the Saturday night edition of The Awakening World. I so love that music, and I want to acknowledge Kristin Hoffmann, who we're going to hear tonight live, who created that beautiful song. Thank you, Alan and Son, for the editing. And welcome to The Awakening World. I want to thank everybody that's in our Zoom room already, and I want to welcome those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you to the Sign Network. Over 100 Facebook groups and pages are watching us right now. And I want to invite you to come on into our Zoom room and join us, because we have beautiful presenters. And in the Zoom room, it's easier to see your questions, to answer you, to connect with you. And tonight we're going to have some really beautiful interaction. And it's easy to come into our Zoom room. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. That's globalpeacetribe.com and register. It takes about a minute. And you'll immediately get an email that has the Zoom links for all of our shows. We do a show every Friday night, every Saturday night, every Sunday morning. And we take a theme and we explore that theme throughout the weekend. And tonight's theme is modern day mystics dancing with the divine. And the theme was inspired by a wonderful new book written by Sister Jenna, who is my co-host. And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And we're going to be hearing not only from Sister Jenna, but several of the people that contributed to this book are joining us tonight. What's also exciting about this weekend's shows is that we have, between last night, tonight, and tomorrow morning, people coming to us live from 8 different countries: Australia, Canada, Egypt, India, throughout the United States, Australia, and South America and Costa Rica. 8 different countries, and the people joining us are from very diverse cultures and backgrounds, helping us to understand, what does it really mean to be a modern day mystic? How can we dance with the divine? And I want to suggest that each and every one of you watching, whether you're watching in our Zoom room, watching on Facebook, or those of you watching this recording, you are a modern day mystic. You do have an opportunity to dance with the divine, and some of you have a very cultivated way of doing it, and hopefully maybe some of you will be inspired by tonight's show. And so with no further ado, I am so honored, coming to us all the way from India, this is Sister Jenna.
And Jenny.
Sister Jenna, give me a moment to just tell people who don't know who you are. I know a lot of people do. You've been on our show a couple times now, but for anybody who is seeing this exquisite being for the first time, Sister Dr. Jenna is an acclaimed and very trusted spiritual mentor. She's committed to bridging the divides in societies and building relationships between global influencers Boy, that is so important now. And anybody watching this, you are part of the Global Peace Tribe. You are an influencer. And so her wisdom, her medicine, her book is going to be very valuable for you. She's been a recipient of the President's Lifetime National Community Service Award. She's a member of the Evolutionary Leaders, and she is a most beloved guide for us all. Welcome, Sister Jenna.
Thank you, Scott. You're too kind. And can I tell you, this is so timely to be having a party on Saturday night, dancing with God. I mean, only you would do that.
Well, thank you. Uh, Share with us a little bit who we're going to have. And what I'll do is I'll pull people up on camera, and you can just tell us a little bit about each one of them. And I think let's start with our beloved mutual friend, Kristin Hoffmann.
Kristen Hoffmann, I've adopted over the years. There's something about when we come together, the divine comes through her in ways that are indescribable with words. It's just so sacred and pure. So I'm looking forward to our time with her. And her musical geniusness is just innate. She didn't have to go to Juilliard to learn music. She is music. And
Yes.
I'm so happy that she's with us today.
Great.
Sister Wadi, who has known me the longest of my tribe in the Brahma Kumaris community, she's located in Miami, Florida, has been a person that I go to when I just can't figure me out. And there's a way that she will articulate so naturally, just speaking from her innate wisdom about life. And she just makes me get it. And she doesn't even know because she's blabbing away, but I'm getting it, you know? And so her spiritual presence and her spiritual role in the Brahma Kumaris world movement is one of integrity and character. Everybody goes to Sister Wadi to feel safe and to feel a sense of trust. So I'm looking forward to her contribution today. Thanks, Sister Wadi. So Janai Lane, I came to meet with her in the book, whereby she's sharing her story that I thought has opened up some interesting thoughts for me. So in her book, in the book, I like the way Janai shows up. And I think in her sharing today, you will get to know the heart of how beautiful this soul is. Thank you for being on the journey with us. The amazing Shadea, AKA Dr. Ivy. When she first came on my radio show, America Meditating Radio, it was clear to me that we were going to be buddies for many, many lifetimes. The gift of her voice and a descendant from the great Marian Anderson, who's just, it's funny if you listen to the prolific sound of Marian Anderson and you listen to Dr. Ivy, they sound like twins. Her voice is so powerful, but Dr. Ivy isn't about her voice. It's about the love and the presence of, there's a kingship about Shadea. When she walks into a room, a king has arrived. And so that's the energy that you feel with her. So she's definitely a blessing on the earth in the part that she's playing now. I'm happy to call her a friend.
Beautiful. And then we have a couple of other people who are going to join us that aren't quite with us yet.
Wow, Brother Charlie, one of the few brothers that actually came into his awakening with the Brahma Kumaris over 45 years ago, when the Brahma Kumaris was predominantly more Indian-based in its philosophy. And Brother Charlie's ability to articulate such deep spiritual wisdom with such humility will be felt today in our sharing and his story of his connection to divine. Guys, you're going to love everybody tonight. This is going to be one of your programs that you're going to go to bed just going like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. I feel so sweet. So yeah.
And coming all the way from Egypt a little bit later tonight.
Sister Aruna, this is one of my buddies. I mean, she's fashion oriented. She loves to look good. I love her. But Aruna is genuine, real, doing a lot of unlimited bestowing of service in the Middle East. And I think what I love the most about her too, again, is the ability to articulate spiritual wisdom in a way that you can receive it at a heart and head level. So whenever we can do that, there's a balance. So Aruna has a beautiful way and a beautiful fragrance in conveying God's message. I love that about her.
Beautiful. And I want to introduce Keishi Chai has come back again. And Keishi is, of course, an exquisite dancer. She's been on our shows a few times now, and the combination of her exquisite dance and Kristen's music is just always such a highlight. So welcome, Keishi. I'm so glad you're with us. And she's also, halfway through the show, going to lead a little movement meditation, a chance for us to all get up out of our chairs and move. So thank you so much, Keishi, for joining us. All right. Well, you know, Sister Jenna, we always like to start our shows with something very upbeat. And there's nothing to get a show started more dynamic than, I mean, that's why I start every show with Kristen's song in the Awakening World. And now that we're going to really drop in, I'm going to bring back Kristen and Keishi. And Kristen, tell us a little bit about what you've got going on tonight.
Such an honor to be here, and Keishi, I'm very excited to be diving into a Solom improvisational music and dance world together. We are going to literally open ourselves and call in divine and see what emerges. This piece has never been played or danced. It's going to be exactly what wants to come through now. So for all of you who are watching and listening, I just want to invite each and every one of you to think of yourself as a co-creator in this piece. Send your intention into the field, and Keishi and I will be the vessels that receive our collective vibration. Keishi, do you feel like adding anything to this before we start, or?
Ditto. We're going to be soaring through the clouds with you. So bring it on. We look forward to being the channel.
Beautiful. Here we go.
feel you in the wind when you whisper in my ear, softly and sweet. I can feel you on the wind, singing right into the heart of me, singing, right into the heart of me. Right into the heart of me, sweet divine, you're right into the heart of me. Oh, bring into the spark of me, light the divine spark of me. Oh, into life, you always light me up. I can feel you on the wings of time. I can feel your light dancing to my life. When I listen deep into the mystery, I can feel you dancing in my dreams. I can feel you, the river and the stream. I can see you in the sunrise. I can see you in the child's eyes. I can feel you in my heartbeat. I can feel you in the ocean sea. I can feel you in the wildlife. I can feel you in the moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. Divine. Divine. lifting our light into every life. We're calling on divine, straight from the source. We are calling on an inner force. We are listening now to the sweet whispering, always within us, always within us. We are listening now to the sweetest whispering, always within us, always within us. Listening now to that sweetest whispering, always within us, oh, always within us. We are listening now to the sweetest whispering, always within us. You're always within us. We are listening now, the sweetest whispering, always within us. You're always within us, 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 always within us. Take a deep inhale and feel yourself inhaling in that mystical divine that is everywhere. And send that divine breath out into the world. Thank you.
I'm noticing that both Sister Jenna and I are like wiping the tears from our eyes. That was incredible, as you'll see in all the comments. Since we're in such a sacred space, I'm not going to go to your websites now. We'll do that later. I'm going to bring Sister Jenna on, and we're going to roll right into our prayer. Sister Jenna, you're muted.
Om Shanti. I think it's important that we stay on this stream right now. As Scott and I call you into prayer, meditation, and intimacy in calling the energy of God's light into our space, into within, inside. It's always within you. It's the energy of God's love is always within us. And let us sit here together as a collective energy of souls, allowing the vibration of God's love and peace to well up inside of us and spread far and wide, especially to our brothers in Russia and Ukraine. May those soldiers feel Baba's light. And may the leaders have a moment of divinity and mysticism where the pause invites them into their connection to Source. The energy of God's light and love pulls them up and out of the trenches of violence and greed, and into the garden of love and peace. Let us hold this moment of silence. Om Shanti. Our invitation of this space doesn't stop here, but can we invite you to pause every hour in the hour for this same blessing and offering to our brothers and sisters. In our Brahma Kumaris community, we call it traffic control. And I know with all my heart that if we mentally commit to pausing every hour to be in service from the mind and to give pure feelings and good wishes to our brothers that are right now without the connection, the remembrance of the flame, someone will be touched, and that person will touch another and touch another. And before you know it, they'll put guns down for wings. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Sister Jenna. And thank you, Kristen and Casey, for just an exquisite, extraordinary, beautiful, beyond words.
Yeah.
We will continue the prayer. We're going to dedicate the after show to prayer. And Sister Jenna, I believe that it's time for you to introduce Sister Veronica.
Yes, yes. So everyone that's on and watching today, you've come into this zone by lieu of the book, Mystical Experiences with the Divine, the meditation book that we released on the 2nd of February. And one of the co-authors is someone that has known me from I was an extremely young woman, I think in my teenage years. And she's watched me here and here and here. And she's continued to give guidance as a result of what she sees over there, the future of the soul. So when she offered her story to the book, it was entitled Doubting Thomas. And it was interesting because we've all heard of this, this phrase being coined about a doubting Thomas. And it was interesting, and I'm going to let her share her story, that her connection to God was direct, personal, but the fact that something awakened in her more with Brahma Baba, who was the instrument that brought to life the movement of the Brahma Kumaris, but the fact that she somehow started to connect the two, that there was God's energy, definitely for the whole world, and then there was this man. And there was something about his eyes and his presence. And I think I'd like to invite her to share about that awakening that happened to her in her Doubting Thomas stage, but her contribution that she made in the book. Welcome, Sister Wadi.
Thank you so much, Jenna. First, I just have to acknowledge Kristen and Janai. The singing, it absolutely fills my chest. She did speak about the heart, but it felt like as if my whole chest was just filled with the beauty of your voice, that gift that you have from God. One of the reasons, no doubt, that God loves you, but the gift that you give to us. And then at the end of it, what you brought to the silence that came at the end and then was continued by Sister Jenna was magnificent, just magnificent. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Sister Veronica. It's always such a blessing to be in your presence, and I've learned so much from you already, and I know I'm just about to learn more right now.
A little bit of the story, I suppose. I know it's about modern mystics, but I could say I was the reluctant mystic and had been on the path of search for a good number of years, traveling to many different countries, and at that time not quite knowing that what it was that I was in search of, but what I did feel sure about was that when I would find it, I would recognize it, I would know what it was. And when I was in my mid-20s, I encountered the Brahma Kumaris and Brother Charlie in London. And they were very small at that time, very small organization. They just sort of come to the West. And I liked many of the things about it. And I already intuitively knew that what I was looking for could not involve prayer or chanting or mantras. This the soul knew. I also felt that I would never join an organization. I was not a joiner by nature. I would never end up wearing a uniform. That was how I saw it, that if I aligned myself with one organization or one system of a worldview, then I would be ignoring or renouncing all the possibilities from somewhere else. And so when I first went to the headquarters after a few months, I was going to check them out, this sweet arrogance that I was going to check them out. And it was whilst I was there that I had the experience that I shared in the book. And it wasn't that I first believed what they were telling me. I did not. I know I liked them. I knew I liked them. And I liked basically the things that they were saying. But again, there was limitations to my understanding. I loved the energy, the vibration. And in this particular meditation, it was as if my world just turned around, turned upside down. And I know that the limitations of my own imagination could never have taken me into the experience that I had at that moment. And it was heightened by the fact that there was a senior yogi in front of me and sharing through his eyes the love that he had for God. And then all of a sudden, it was like this light was coming into my forehead. My whole being was being filled with light and with the only word that I could use, not at that time, but later, was bliss, complete bliss. And that energy, that light was then radiating, was coming out from me in waves. And I really felt afterwards that it was like God, that whom I was beginning to know a little bit about, was telling me, okay, Miss Doubting Thomas, there's no other way you're going to get it, you know, that you're a little bit perhaps dense or argumentative, and that there's only, this is like the last ditch attempt to show you. And it was complete light, bliss, love, everything else. And so I went from, at one moment, checking out the Brahma Kumaris, almost like as if I was honoring them with my company, to complete life change, and where I accepted that this was home for me. And I do believe that everyone has a home, a place, a practice that is absolutely right and fitting for them. And before going to India, I didn't pay much attention to the founder of the Brahma Kumaris. I liked the fact that, as I say, there was no ritual. There didn't seem to be any dogma. But again, the idea of a human being. But when I went to India, it was like, again, a change in that I was able to understand better who he was. And it was because, I think, of his complete humility that it almost made him appear ordinary. And then the realization that his ordinariness made him extraordinary, and that he was such an instrument for God that he never, ever even referred to himself as a teacher, let alone a guru. And what used to happen then for me, or the difference that I would see, as Jenna had asked me about my relationship with the founder, who at that time had been dead already for 7 years. But as I listened to what I now understand to be God's teaching, God is very specific in that it is about hear me, listen only to me, and remember only me. And almost like an order for, that ultimate purification, if that's what you want. But this man, Brahma Baba, in his subtle form, his angelic, his form of light, he used to come to me. I mean, practically where by the side of my bed or in my meditations, he never ever asked for anything. He didn't demand anything, but all he did was give love. And so even though he's an elderly man, he was an elderly man with a mustache, my experience of him has been almost more like a mother. And coincidentally, a year ago, my own mother passed. And the day after she was buried in Ireland was the anniversary of Brahma Baba's passing as well. And that next day, the whole meditation, the experience of that one as being like the feminine energy manifest from God through him, so that I could experience the parental side of God, both as the mother and as the father. And so, yes, that would be the one human being that it has shown me God in many ways, or God has been revealed through him in order for me to understand and experience it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's funny because I'm remembering how also there is an energy of Brahma Baba's eyes, that he has a way of just showing up to just keep you in line. Whenever I was about to get into the naughty, Brahma Baba's eyes would just show up with this compassion and love and just, you're bigger than that, you know? And I'd just be like...
I remember you telling this story, Jenna, when your parents were involved with the Brahma Kumaris and you were that naughty teenager, and his picture on the wall and your experience with it.
Yeah,
but you couldn't hide from his eyes. Yeah.
I couldn't. His eyes were my conscience. And at that time, my conscience was troublesome. And what did I know about the depths of principles and values? But those eyes would come to my rescue over and over again. They would just come to my rescue and they would look into me and they would see something that was much more powerful than where I was. And it's funny that when you came, Sister Wadi, Brother Charlie was around as well. And I want to bring him on because your story kind of leads right into also his journey of God's vision of love. I can't believe we're having this party on a Saturday in America and on a Sunday in India as we approach Mahashivratri in India. And the fact that Brother Charlie and you have also been sort of traveling together in the spiritual practice of the Brahma Kumaris.
Many lifetimes.
Yeah, and you guys are like buddies and best friends too. But it's funny because you said something about the humility of Brahma Baba's presence and purpose, and Brother Charlie is the epitome of humility. And one of the things that many of us have recognized in him is that the humility is actually the greatest strength of a person because he doesn't pump up himself. It's just, here's God, here's my journey, and I'm traveling. And yet he's in charge of the large region of Asia and even the very big voice in the Brahma Kumari and Kumaris movement. And I welcome Brother Charlie all the way from New Delhi. He's in New Delhi. I'm in Rajasthan.
Thank you so much, Jenna. It's so lovely to be with you. And we're both in India, but a few hundred kilometers apart at the moment.
Brother Charlie, your contribution in the book is a little bit similar to Sister Wadi, where you're searching, but that search just didn't hit you at that moment of your awakening. And we're with Scott's beautiful global peace tribers, who are all the awakening ones. We're awakening. What was that moment of awakening? What was that recognition that woke you up?
First of all, just, hi, Scott, and hi, everybody. It's so lovely to be with you. And it's a very warm vibe when I connected much earlier, very lovely and very warm. I'm probably like all of us here, because from a young age, I was such a searcher type. And just at the age of 20, I wandered all over the world. And right throughout my part of the world, Southeast Asia, India, the Middle East, Europe, Africa. And I lived in religious communities everywhere with Muslims and Sikhs and Hindus and Buddhists and Taoists, and dived into the Ganges, did the whole bit. But I think my whole question in this, this amazing spiritual practice is, I heard lovely things everywhere and I really was touched, but I wanted to experience, I wanted to somehow really experience God in a real way, a tangible way, not a sort of esoteric or philosophical way. And, after all this wandering, I settled in London. I was living in London at the time. And I did meet Sister Jenty and Daddy Janki. And I think one of the most incredible things about the Brahma Kumaris is that it's run by women, and that creates such an incredibly different atmosphere in an organization, a community. It's so family-like. And I could see on their faces that they were experiencing it just wasn't more sort of philosophy and ideas, and that really attracted me. And I went along and I began to, do a few sessions and lessons and so on. And one day I was really trying to connect the eternal soul, with the eternal form of light, with God. And that pilgrimage, the inner pilgrimage to, the one, so to speak. And this was sort of the image I was holding in my mind. And it was amazing. And suddenly it's like the connection happened. And I just felt I was live streaming a purity of love that I've never tasted anywhere else. It was just extraordinary. And that energy of love just triggered something within me. I can only say it was sort of somehow my self-value was restored. That lost self-value that we seem to search for all our lives, feeling really comfortable about myself, not trying to be an image, and I felt just restored somehow. And I can remember the thought that just came to mind was, I've come home. This is where I belong. And it wasn't to an organization, and it wasn't to any of that. It was just to the divine, to God. I've come home. And I realized that's what I'd been searching for. Even though I was still fairly young at the time, I'd been searching for the connection which sparked my sense of self-value or my sense of self-respect that I'd lost somewhere along the way.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm reminded of when my parents used to have that picture, Brother Charlie, of the light, of God's light in our home. And looking at my mother and just the tremendous amount of trauma that she had endured as a child, I remembered what her struggles were. But I remembered when that light went up in our house. And within 6 months, Charlie, there was an aura of light around my mom. And I just remembered how obvious her transformation was at a soul level. It was invisible, but it became so visible to me just looking in and seeing her fragrance changing in front of my eyes. And this energy of God's light and the divinity of light making us into these mystics is profound. What, when we talk about the love and the peace, it's like every day, definitely. But can you share, like in just a few sentences, the transformation that occurs as a result of the reawakening of that connection to that light?
I suppose, Jenna, my practice now, which sort of keeps me in the zone of self-transformation, is what I would call remembrance. And what I've begun to observe in myself is that, that part of your consciousness, the soul, the intellect, the intellect's always traveling and connecting with a memory, a person, a situation. And what I've observed, whatever I connect with in that millisecond, it's instant, I'm influenced by it. And then I download a vibe into my mind. So if I remember someone I love, I download this really sweet vibe. But I connect with someone I'm going through some conflict with. The instant I touch, I'm influenced and I download a different vibe. And in a way, what I've been trying to do, especially recently, is really be present in this world, present with everybody, but keep the subtle thread with the divine. And I find that unbelievably, like in a moment, my attitude transforms. The old thoughts might be someone in front, oh, you're doing this again. They're saying, the old sort of feelings you have about people. But when the subtle thread is under the influence of the divine rather than my old self, I find my attitude instantly changes and shifts. Because I find that when I feel benevolent, I'm in the right space. I feel like that's who I am. When I find I'm really not in that space and, falling back into the old critical vibe about everyone and everything, I just that's not who I am anymore. I want to be in that benevolent space. So really, I try to remember, which means that instant, in a millisecond, I connect, I'm influenced, and I live stream that vibe into my mind. And I'm starting to feel that's all we really have to do these days. And the real service of life is to just keep the vibe, keep that elevated vibe happening wherever I am, whoever I'm with. That, that purity of vibration that it's like a perfume that sort of permeates an atmosphere. And I think we all know that feeling that when someone just holds that vibe, it just does magical work. You don't even have to open your mouth, actually. And I feel that's what the world wants now. They want the vibe. They want that feeling that emanates when the subtle thread is with God and not with the past and people and the situations and all the other stuff. I'm not denying it or ignoring it. I'm just looking at it from a different perspective.
It's beautiful. It's about the vibe, right?
It's all about
the vibe.
It is. I often think my whole world, my whole life happens in my head, in my mind, and really, and I have a little saying for myself that if I'm not happy, if I'm not feeling great, there's only one question. It's not rocket science. What have I been remembering? What have I plugged my head into? And every time I would have plugged my head into a behavior of someone, a comment of someone, a memory from the past, or an anxiety coming up. And I just have to pull out that plug and replug it somewhere else. It's about paying attention to what I remember. This is where I'm at the moment.
Beautiful. Thanks. I think Kristen and Dr. Ivy have a new song coming out called It's All About the Vibe. It's about the vibe.
Yeah,
love it.
I'm
Thank you
there.
so
I'm
much.
there.
I love it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Charlie. Fantastic. He's holding down so much in Asia, everyone. And for us to get time with him again, it's the vibe. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you,
speaking,
Jenna.
I want
And
to come on
you're
for one
welcome.
moment, if I may, um, uh, because I want people to start knowing how they can really connect to what we're talking about. Charlie, you have a beautiful website here. Um, I'm going to spell it for people. It's BRAHMAKUMARIS, BrahmaKumaris.org. And just tell us a little bit about some of the ways that people can get support by coming to you or coming to this website, please.
thank you so much, Scott. Actually, the website is the international website of the Brahma Kumaris, and they have details of centers in about 130 countries of the world, some countries, numerous centers. And on the website, you can meet the sisters who are the leaders of the Brahma Kumaris, and you can see the map there that just, you can click on a country and it will just take you straight to where you can go. And what the Brahma Kumaris just offer, you know, we do have a website in 9 centers in Ukraine. And actually, the person who runs them wrote to me just this morning, telling me that, you know, chaos all around, and they're meditating in bomb shelters and things like that at the moment, but they're meeting people in the bomb shelters and talking about the things we're talking about, and their spirits are quite incredible. But that website also has messages from the sisters who head up the Brahma Kumaris, and there's numerous sort of talks and meditation practices, and you can even do a meditation course online as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to meet you, sir. And thank you
Yeah,
for
no, Scott, it's so delightful to meet you, and I hope to meet you in the flesh one day too.
I would like that very much. I would like that very much. So hold that. We're all looking forward to shifting from online to in person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, everybody. It's been a delight.
I also just want to let people know again the book we're talking about that Charlie and Sister Veronica contributed to, along with Jean Houston. You've seen her on my shows. It's called Meditation, Intimate Experiences with the Divine Through Contemplative Practices. And this is the inspiration for tonight. And I want to again just remind everybody, please, let's go get that book. And it's really easy. You can just go to Amazon and pull it up. I also want to remind some people, because we had a lot of people join us in the last 20 minutes, that we're encouraging everyone, whether you're watching on Facebook or if you're in our Zoom room, to share your stories of the divine, some of your mystical experiences. Christy Michaels, kind of in the earlier part of our show, talked about when she was 10 years old, she asked God to show her diamonds as a way of feeling special. And she put that in the chat box. And then after that, she was going through the website, I guess, of Sister Jenna, and pulled to the wheel and got diamonds. So there you have it. The miracles are happening. And I'm going to read just one person's example, just to acknowledge and get us all feeling safe to share some of our moments. So I'm going to read what Susan wrote. She wrote, yes to ongoing prayer, all waking hours. And by the way, Sister Jenna called for us to commit to every hour stopping for prayer. So we will do that on tonight's show. And I want to acknowledge how many of our readers and listeners have said, yes, I'm committed to that. Susan continues, I already sense a world shift. The domination invasion mode has passed. The world knows it will no longer support behavior born of the old paradigm that is disappearing even more quickly. And then a personal story that somebody shared. Patricia wrote, Scott, since experiencing out-of-body experiences as a little girl younger than 5, And now all the way through my adulthood, I've had mystical experiences, including 3 modern-day revelations, which I feel are intended to assist humanity in awakening. Thank you, Patricia, Christy, and the dozens of people who are sharing those stories. And let's use this as an opportunity that we can come out. Chris, as Sister Jenna said, it's a party, and let's make it a coming out party where we're coming out and sharing about our experiences of dancing with the divine. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to my wonderful co-host tonight, Sister Jenna.
It's so funny. All kinds of coming out makes you feel so liberated rather than sheltering these
Right?
things inside of you. Yeah, come out. Come on, modern day mystics. Come out of that closet right now. So a few years ago, everyone, and oh gosh, wait, let me pause for a moment. Everybody who has entered today, and for those in the last 20 or 30 minutes, I'm sure you're feeling the energy of safety and divinity, that we can have a dance and a party with the divine and with ourselves, and just feeling that we're getting beyond this world that we see just with our 2 eyes. And today is all about living with the world behind our eyes and amplifying our existence. What Brother Charlie said, to be just very present, be very present. So a few years ago, when I was hosting America Meditating Radio, I met upon the amazing Dr. Ivy Hilton, who's now also known as Shadia. Ivy and I became very good friends immediately, and her gift of her voice and her presence continues to be a contribution in every door she walks in. The moment Ivy walks in a door, you notice. You don't notice her, but you notice your strength by being with her. And so today she's going to offer us something very beautiful as a gift. She says it's a surprise, and I can't wait to hear it. So please give a big heart emoji on if you're on Zoom, to our beautiful Dr. Ivy Hilton. Welcome.
Thank you, Sister Jenna. Let there be light. Om Shanti.
Scott, do we have to even talk after this?
Well, we can go slow, but I do want to let people know where they can get Dr. Ivy's wonderful sound healings. So I'll talk slowly. Dr. Ivy has a lot of beautiful, beautiful offerings, and you can get them by going to, I'm going to show two things. Her website, drivysoundspa.com. drivysoundspa.com, and there's so many beautiful things here for us. And then she's got something coming up that is especially exciting on March 11th. And let me go to that post to tell us, Dr. Ivy, about what's going to be happening on March 11th.
Going to do my very first virtual EP release, and it will be a series of 5 sonic meditations featuring a sonic digital art videos with the meditation. And we will have an opportunity to manifest, to do our chakra healing, to see God as the light, taking deep breaths and breathing, and then manifesting our heart's deepest desires with the sweet, sweet, sweet opportunity for peace and blessings in the privacy of your own home. You can register right on drivysoundspa.com and come on and be a part of this most divine experience with us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Ivy, for being with us last week, this week, and next week.
Wow.
It's a triple header. Sister Jenna,
Triple dunk. Thank you so much, Scott. You know, just 3 years ago, before the lockdown, Dr. Ivy performed at the Brahma Kumaris headquarters for a global conference and sung in Hindi to over 9,000 Indians. And it's not easy to do. But when she started, after the first maybe 20 seconds, the whole audience went into the energy and captured the love of God through her. So thank you so much. I really have to say, Scott, as much as I really think we should wait at the end to bring everybody's connection and how we can connect to them, because I think there's something happening in our dancing with the divine tonight, that there's something profoundly transformative at a soul level that's taking place, and it might be nice for us to keep that flame lit. Janai Lane was one of the other co-authors with me on the journey, and I came across Janai as a result of the book. Hadn't known her before, but when we did a few interviews together, it was very clear that she definitely belonged in the book, but that there was something very mystical about Janai's presence and being a life coacher and just the real deal. I've loved her story about bumping into unity consciousness. So tell us a little bit about your contribution in the book, Janai. Like, why was that story specific? Because I'm sure you've had many more mystical experiences, and I hope you're feeling pretty good so far.
Oh, yes. There's such a wonderful transmission that is happening. And it's wonderful to be among mystics. And one of the things that once I asked a mystic what a transmission was, and the answer that came was, a transmission is God waking up to herself. And this is what I felt listening to Dr. Ivy. It was such a beautiful experience with the divine. So thank you so much for that. That was just exquisite. My journey into mysticism really happened with devotion, which is something you're really seeing tonight. You're really seeing each of us, each one of us, the presenters, have a devotion for God, for the divine, to have that direct experience with the divine. And, honestly, it wasn't until I really committed on my spiritual path to meditation, to practice every day, no matter what, with a devotion, that things began to open and change. And if they can happen in me, it could happen in anyone. And as I began to really practice and open, the mystics began to appear to me from different traditions, and some of whom I didn't know who they were until they expressed who they were, and I looked them up later. And as these mystics began giving me these very direct teachings, and it was such a beautiful insight, because I had been taught that you need an intermediary to God, that you needed permission. And what they were saying is, no, Janai, you need to claim it. You need to have that direct connection to God. So as I began to understand that from the teachings that I was receiving directly, I didn't have the experience yet of that divine unity, but I understood it intellectually. And I spent a lot of my spiritual evolution trying to transcend my humanity, which is what I was taught. But it wasn't until, this is the story in Dr. Jenna's beautiful book, which this book is in itself a transmission. And the story, which happened a number of years ago, was a period in my life where I was going through a very challenging time. I was going through a divorce, and I was leaving a spiritual community, which I helped run and I was a big part of. And so my heart was breaking. My heart was shattering. And I went to do a silent retreat with my teacher, one of my teachers, who I would consider a mystic. And I was having a very difficult time. Even though I had meditated for 2 decades, my mind wouldn't stay quiet. And this is really important I'm mentioning this because I know a lot of us can relate to that as our minds are going, we think that we're not having an experience, that something isn't happening. And on this particular occasion, that was happening to me. There was a lot of inner conflict, inner dialogue. However, I kept at it. And 6 days in, I was sitting in a large meditation hall with 300 people. And I wasn't meditating at the time. There was a question and answer period. And suddenly I became the room. And everything that was happening in this very large meditation hall was happening inside me. Every breath, every thought, every awareness, every heart beating was happening inside of me. And you could say me, but it was a we. And there was no separation between me and everyone else, me and God. It was as if my heart and God's heart were one heart beating together. And I became aware of this love that was informing form, this dancing with the divine that was happening spontaneously. And I couldn't find myself. There was no Janai. She was gone. And there was just reality happening, love living through us. And it was an exquisitely blissful experience. And it changed me in a major way, because understanding as a felt embodied sense that everyone and everything is an extension of myself meant that I would walk in the world differently, more kindly, more gently, and with love and reverence and respect for all living things. And you know, as I integrated that experience, one of the things that really changed for me is that in that unity consciousness, or that merging with the divine, I recognized it was an inclusion of my humanity, that my divinity and my humanity were married as one. And that was a very different way of being in the world than I had been taught in other spiritual traditions. And so that is why you see that when you meet a mystic or you read about a mystic, you understand that they've transcended belief systems, and they've moved from the me to the we, from fear to love, from somebody to everybody.
Everybody. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow. It's so good to meet you, because I feel that as we come out of the closet, mystics need to come together into being the we, so that we can help our brothers and sisters who are just sort of not turned on yet, but that through our collective energy, something mystical can happen for them. Thank you for your contribution. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for your beautiful book. And I know that many people are awakening as they're reading this book and having experiences. They are sharing that with me. So I hope everybody takes this opportunity to really get the book and enjoy these wonderful stories. Stories can transform us. They absolutely do.
They sure do. They sure do. Thank you, Janai. So, Scott, wow. How are you doing in tonight's program?
Well, you and I both shed tears during Kristen's opening song, so I had to kind of pull it together to get grounded, and it's just such a pleasure to be with so many beautiful souls, and also, I feel like a proud papa of the Global Peace Tribe. And so when we meet people like yourself and Janai and all the people we're meeting tonight, I kind of am like a proud papa, because I love bringing people together and seeing the comments coming in on Zoom and on Facebook. It's really exciting. One such comment, Karen Wood, who's watching on Unify, writes, "My daughter is in labor tonight as this beautiful gathering is happening. Thank you. This is such a wonderful experience." So, like watching and seeing all the people that say, "Oh my God, I'm feeling the spirit," or they're coming forward and telling their stories and how they've been touched by Dr. Ivy or by you. It's
Thank you.
Thank
So I
you.
think we've got Keisha coming back on.
Casey is going to lead a movement meditation for us.
Yes, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much, Sister Jenna. I was really inspired by Sister Jenna's share in the pre-show about wanting to show up with authenticity and realness when she was younger as somebody venturing forth in your spiritual path. And I decided for tonight that I am going to step into a blank slate and share as well a guided movement meditation. And it's inspired by Sister Jenna's idea of meditation, of tuning into the breath, and how we can use that infuse our movement, because we were given bodies by the divine, by source. We're not only heads moving around through space. So through breath, we will activate our body. Let's just take a quick moment to close our eyes and just do a quick body scan. If you're having a conversation with your body, what is your body saying to you right now? Is there a part that's holding on? Is there a part that needs some releasing or letting go? You can feel free to put it into the chat. For me, I can definitely feel my upper trapezius saying hello. So as we move into some dance, as we step into dancing with the divine as the theme for tonight, I'm going to play a beautiful song by my friend Narayan from Caravanserai. It's called Wandering Mystic. Okay, so I invite you to join me to take this Very short movement break to tune into your breath, and then let that inform your body. So we're going to stand tall. Take a moment to place your hands on your ribs, and we're going to move into three-dimensional breathing. As you inhale, feel the ribs expand out, and as you exhale, feel them narrow in. So the ribs are expanding wide as you inhale, and as you exhale, they narrow. Let's extend the arms out, fingertips reaching wide, and exhale. Bring the hands together. Drop your chin. Inhale, open your heart. Fingers extend back, and exhale. Bring the arms forward. So now we're moving into expansion and contraction, which is the movement of breath, the most fundamental movement, mental movement in the universe. Inhale and exhale. Holding it out, let's interlace our fingers behind and gently fold, bend at the hips. Let your head drop down, head shakes no, head nods yes, arms release to the floor, slowly roll up. Now we're going to inhale and look for length, and bring the hands down together, lengthening up and down. Opposite arm on top, inhale and exhale. Feel those lungs lengthen and breathe. Arms open wide, let's start to spiral and look over that right shoulder and spiral. Look over the left shoulder. Visualizing a DNA strand, which is the shape of the spiral. And we're in the spiral universe, galaxy, Milky Way. Inhale and exhale. Breathe. Shifting weight over to the right. Using your eyes, look behind you. Over to the left. Bring the arms up. Inhale and exhale. Bringing the hands in prayer, sinking your hips side to side. Activating the third eye. Heart center, giving out positive energy to the world, sending peace across the planet, tracing the infinity symbol, moving your hips. Feel free to move your arms in space. Now imagine that you're in the ocean, one with the planet, and the waves are moving you through space. Knowing that you are small and the central part of the whole, let yourself surrender and let go and release. Breathing. Inhale and exhale. Following your body, letting go of thoughts. Noticing your inhale and your exhale. Coming to the center. Bringing the palms together. One hand on your heart, the other hand on your belly, and gently circle, noticing your weight move front to back. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. Thank you very much. Thank your body.
Thank you, Casey. That was wonderful. Just wonderful. And we're going to do the promotions for everybody at the end of the show now. Thank you, Casey, for your dance and for just getting everybody back in their bodies. It was just exquisite and wonderful. You bring so much every time you're on our show. Thank you so much. And we're going to turn it back over to Sister Jenna.
So I'd like us to take this moment to deepen the experience now that Keishi has reminded us of the sacredness of having a body. To have a body and to be sacred up here must be the greatest gift. So this video entitled Man Mana Bhav, it's in Sanskrit, it means be mine with your mind. Let my mind feel the energy of God's light. So let's sink into this experience for a few minutes and then we'll come back and continue the rest of our night. And now I'd like to invite my beautiful sister Kristen to deepen our connection and intimacy to Baba, to the divine, as she offers this beautiful song to the book called Sweet Divine. Kristen?
Such a beautiful joy to share this song, Sweet Divine. I have to put my headset on. I forgot. Okay. So this song is all about getting quiet and listening, and in that space, having this sweet conversation with Divine.
Sweet divine, like you're always so aware of me. In these conversations, you help me see the way. These conversations, my unique offering. These conversations, the healing that is mine to claim. Oh, sweet divine. Sweet divine, in your gaze I'm never alone. You lead me back to heart and home. Help me hear the truest tone of who I am. Sweet divine, even when I'm living asleep, forgotten how to listen deep, you find a way to sing to me through the night. In these conversations, you help me see the way. These conversations, my unique offering. These conversations, the healing that is mine to claim. Oh, sweet divine, sweet divine. In these conversations, you help me see the way. These conversations, my unique offering. These conversations, the healing that is mine to claim. Oh, sweet divine, sweet divine. Sweet divine.
Oh, Kristen, I can't wait for the whole world to wake up to Baba, I tell you. How could it not be, Scott and everyone out there? How can we not walk with this energy now? This is all we want. Scott's Awakening Tribe, his Global Peace Tribe, this book, all of you that's joined in around the world. If there's love for the one above, there'll be love down below. Let's give a big, big heart hug to Kristen. I mean, you took us to Baba Girl like you'll not believe.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have to say, it is such an honor to watch this song go to work in the world to support this amazing book and to support, listen, everyone who just heard the song, if you go to my Bandcamp or whatnot, you can actually just stream the song for free. Just listen and let the music invite you into that connection, into that conversation. And, music has that gift. It can immediately connect us. When Ivy was singing before, it takes you into a space Music is one of the best conduits for us to remember the divine within us and all around us. So put on a good piece of music, put on Sweet Divine, put on some Reverend Ivy Shadia, and just let yourself be carried on the waves of the music.
Yeah. And grab a copy of the book while you're listening, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hold it to
I
your
have
heart.
I have to say that tonight has been, it's my morning now, and I don't even know how the rest of the day is going to go for me after today. But it's going to be definitely filled with a lot of richness and divinity, no doubt. You know, we're about to come closer to the close of the hour, and I want to thank Kristen again for her contribution to reconnecting us to Baba's light, to God's energy, to the world of love. Our next special contributor to the book, and Kristen, I forgot. Thank you for making this happen tonight. We would have never had this evening if you had not had this conversation with Scott and the tribe to bring this to fruition. So thank you for this service.
In
Thank
these
you.
conversations, the awakening world happens.
Exactly.
We all come
So
together.
now, I know, it's so wonderful. So now we're going to go all the way to Egypt, and we're going to be at the top of the hour there. And one of my beautiful sisters of the of the study of spirituality and meditation and Raj Yoga, Aruna Ladva, has been on the journey for quite a long time, since she was quite a young girl. And her contribution in the book is very fitting to the theme of tonight's talking, Dancing with the Flame. And I'd like to welcome Aruna Ladva, and we call her also Sister Aruna. But one of the things that I thought about your contribution to the book, Aruna, was not just dancing with the flame, but also being on a journey for so long. There must have been moments where it was like a test for you to remember the flame or to stay in the light. Do you remember maybe something specifically that got you back to focus on the flame? Because many of us turn away from it. What was your turning back to the flame after you were awakened? Can you share? Small.
So thank you, Sister Jenna, and thank you to everyone. You know what? It's 5:42 in the morning here, and I've switched it on since 4:30, and it's just such a beautiful energy. And I do miss such things, I must say, the openness with which we can speak and share from our heart, which you all can do over there. So it is so lovely. And Kristen, that was amazing, really. Really lovely to wake up to this. I think everybody should play it first thing in the morning. So thank you so much. And thank you for the invitation, Sister Jenna and Scott and the whole team. Can't thank you enough. Thank you. So back to the flame. Well, I was very young when I had a spiritual experience. So I was about 7, 8 years old. And in a way, I've been growing physically, and I've been growing in spirituality or with spirituality. So of course, there were many tests and distractions and attractions and the pulls and things to take you away from your discipline. But a few things I guess I could highlight is, one is the truth. When you know the truth, then you cannot run from the truth. And this is what I used to say to many souls who would want to leave the path. And I would say, you realize that you're leaving the truth, because it's like you cannot deny the truth. It's not the truth is not there, it's there, but you just don't want to follow it. And so knowing that it's the truth, and I was so fortunate also to be brought up with Dadi Janki, who passed away, but she was the head of the organization for the last about 14 years of the Brahma Kumaris. Sister Jenti, all these very, senior yogis who really helped to shape my path, my journey, to help me bridge that connection with God. And the love is the other thing. I would pack my bags in the morning before school. And as soon as it was 4 o'clock, I would come home and I would just pick up an apple and some train fare, and I would head to the London Centre for the weekend. And I was about 13, 14 at the time. A time when others would perhaps want to be discoing and exploring relationships and other things, other worldly things. And I was just drawn and pulled to this meditation center in central London, in North London. And I can't, it's not something you can pinpoint, but it's just something that you feel from the heart. And I just felt the purity, I just felt the genuinity of the yogis. And that was resonating in me. And I just felt like I wanted to become clean from inside and out. And of course, as I say, there were many tests, but then I, kept going back to the memories. I kept going back to what I had experienced, and nothing compared to that, nothing compared to that. And then one day, I came home for lunch, and my mom was a loving mom, but she was also an enlightened mom. And she used to meditate. And so she would make me lunch. I'd come home for an hour and she'd sit with me while I ate my lunch. And during those moments, she would just share a snippet of something she had learned in the morning from her meditation class. And that day she said to me, Anu, my nickname is Anu, she said, Anu, look at everything around you. And she said, everything is going to be destroyed. But the only thing that will not be destroyed is the soul. And boom, wow, like a zap. I mean, it just hit me that she's so right. And of course, she explained to me what is a soul, and the soul is eternal. And I remember that week telling my best friend that let's try and find something that is eternal. Let's try and tell mom, let's try to convince mom there is something else. And that whole week, I remember looking around and, everything we see with these eyes is perishable, but the soul is imperishable. And so that point gave me my spiritual birth. And so that's like, Jenna, that's like another truth. I cannot run from that truth, that I need to focus, I need to give attention to that which is imperishable and not that which is perishable. So yeah, this is what keeps pulling me back to the connection with God, or Baba, as we say. And that's another beautiful thing. I mean, I'm actually based in Kuwait, but I'm in Egypt now, setting up the center. And I've just had such lovely experiences. It's like I put the question out to Baba and he's responding. He's responding, or he's guiding, or there's a thought, call this one, or and it's lovely. It's amazing. It's amazing. So of course I'm not alone. I have help from above. And I think, just try it. Those who haven't tried it, put out your question and see what it is that he wants to tell you. And of course, yesterday we had a special day where the whole community of the Brahma Kumaris were trying to meditate for 8 hours, sitting down meditation, actual meditation. So I could manage it in the morning, and I had other appointments in the afternoon. But again, I just felt, I was up from 3 a.m. and I just felt like it was amazing. was amazing just being here and experiencing the silence. So yeah,
Beautiful.
love this journey.
Thank you so much, Aruna. It's beautiful to be dancing with you in the flame, and it's so true. Truth is, I remembered once somebody had come to us. We were in New York, and it was somebody who was just little bit naughty, and they were going, "You guys say the same thing in your teachings all the time." But I remembered something Sister Mohini said, and she's the head of the Brahma, additional joint administrational head of the BKs. She said, "Yeah, we always say the same thing, but truth never changes. But when you hear truth, it will change you." That was so powerful. And so when we keep hearing the truth about, I can't be destroyed, so let me create the best experiences in my head. And if for whatever reason something slipped in that wasn't very tasteful for the spirit, then let me just be connected to source, to Baba, to Allah, God, Jehovah, and not if I'm in trouble. I don't go to God if I'm in trouble. I go to God because I like God. And it's my BFF. It's my go-to. And I think when we get those tests and it tries to distract us from the flame, because we have a relationship, then it's always there. So thank you for reminding us of what is true, and whatever other struggles that it's a part of the journey, and the soul always goes back to truth. Thank you.
Never to forget that taste of love, pure unconditional love.
Yeah. Sometimes I will ask or tell my friends, if you're struggling with your connection to Baba, just ask, what does love want of me right now? And automatically the soul would just connect to source, and you'll know the answer. So thank you so much. So everyone, it's been a wonderful evening of being with modern day mystics as we open and intimately share our experiences with the divine. And I can tell you that I know that I've changed for the last hour and a half that I've been with you, or 2 hours. I've changed because what Aruna said, truth, it lasts forever. And the more you hear truth, it will just keep making you a better version of yourself. So it's been a blessing to be with each and every one of you tonight. And I'll have to say that this was definitely a mystical experience. And I'm happy that modern day mystics are coming out of the closet and are becoming more and more apparent on the planet. And definitely through stories, we learn a lot about each other. Scott and Kristen, thank you for being up to so much good in the world and making us come together more in the we consciousness, and for loving light, and for loving the light, and for embracing the light within you that you see in others. So as we say in India, namaste. And we thank you so much for your service, your intuition, faith, and trust. So thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank
Om
you, Sister
Shanti.
Jenna.
I do want to ask people to stay for a few minutes because what we've done is we've put our Global Peace Tribe announcements and some of our promotions here to the end. And so I want to start by just asking everybody one more time to please get the book. You can find it on Amazon. Just go onto Amazon and put in Sister Jenna book, and this page comes up, and that's how you can add it. And when I had her on my show a month ago, I got the book, and I'm loving it. And that's what led to this full show this evening. So please, please, please get the book. Support Sister Jenna. Get the book for your friends. Order multiple copies. And thank you, Sister Jenna, so much for bringing this beautiful book to life for us. Thank you. And for bringing all your friends on. I'm going to bring on your friends one more time, just so we can kind of say goodbye. There's Dr. Ivey, Here's Sister Veronica. Here's Janai Lane. And here is Sister Aruna, all the way from Egypt. And I love that we've got, usually Sister Veronica is in Florida. Kristen's up in northeast New York. From all over the world coming together. And thank you, everybody who's been watching, for being a part of this show. And I do want to always invite people to please share the show with your friends. I am going to put the spotlight on Kristen, and I'll keep it on myself as well, because I do want to encourage everybody to support Kristen. And there's a really wonderful win-win way to do that. So we all go to her website, which is easy to remember because it's her name, Kristin Hoffmann. Make sure you get 2 N's at the end, 2 N's after Hoffman. So 2 F's, 2 N's, Kristin Hoffmann. So you go to KristinHoffmann.com and definitely right away put your name and email address in so she has your information. But what I really want to encourage people to do in addition to that is upper right-hand corner where it says payment and membership. And then you've got different options here. Go to become a member. She has this beautiful sonic soul family that I'm so grateful to be a part of. And every month she does a special afternoon. It's, I believe, the second Sunday of every month.
You got it. Yeah.
At 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern. It's in my calendar, so I don't schedule anything else at that time. And Kristen and her family gather together, and she plays usually 2 or 3 songs. We converse about what's going on in our lives and in the world. It's beautiful. And you can become a core member for as little as $11 a month, or $33 or $77. And it's important for us to have a certain amount of financial security. And these last 2 years have been so hard on musical artists. And so by making that monthly pledge, that way Kristen knows she's got a little bit coming in every month. And so please, let's support Kristen. I know that all of us have been blown away by your music, Kristen. And you give so much to us. And you're one of the most generous people I know. And so thank you. And I want for everybody to support you.
Oh, thanks so much, Scott. Thank you. That means the world to me. And I'm so grateful to all of you who have joined my Sonic Soul family. The monthly gatherings have really been so special and deep. And it's a time to come together each month around a specific theme. And yes, we share music and then we go into some deep dialogue and come out at the end with some more music. So
it's always really fun. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank
and I
you.
put the spotlight on Janai Lane because we didn't get a chance tonight to see your website and the wonderful work you're doing as a spirit coach. And so, again, a lot of good things happening here. Your spirit is waiting for you to awaken the love within, to actualize your gifts, to trust your truth, to listen to your sacred heart, to follow your highest path, to extend compassion to your pain, to serve yourself and others, to embody your divinity. When I saw this prior to the show and I was looking at it, I feel like, Janai, you've done such a beautiful job of capturing kind of like the key bullet points of life. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any place you'd like to point out for us to know on your website or of what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you so much for sharing this. I do have a free page. If you scroll down, there's a free section where I have a lot of guided meditations and talks. I also have a free online course where you can really align your spirit and embody it and marry your divinity and your humanity. And so there's lots of wonderful tools. I also train and certify coaches in a non-dogmatic approach to aligning with spirit. I have many different offerings like retreats and things like that. So I hope you can come over and join me, and I would love and welcome you. Thank you.
Where are your retreats, Janai? Where are you located?
Sedona.
Oh, how perfect. How wonderful.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll be in Sedona in May. Maybe we'll get a chance to meet. I'm going to be doing some shows from there. Thank
I
you
hope
so much
so.
for blessing us with your presence tonight. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And I want to alert people to a few things that are coming up. Tomorrow is the third and final episode of this weekend's series. And again, the Awakening World always takes a topic and we explore it. And tomorrow night, we're going to be looking at how modern day mystics, and then the element we're adding is becoming an urban shaman. And I'm really excited because we've got people coming from all over the world, totally different traditions. Arika will be coming from Costa Rica, and she has a very diverse cultural background and very multi-ethnic. Beautiful brother Astarius Miraculi. You've seen him on my shows before. He's a beautiful brother. And then Don Jorge Luis Delgado is coming to us from South America. And Aruna Morrison will be coming to us from Australia. And the Sacred Sunday show is always a very interactive show. And I just heard that dear beloved Louisa Stowe is going to join us. And we're going to interact with her and have a special meditation for peace tomorrow morning as well. So please, everybody, join us for the Sacred Sunday show tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then tomorrow night, our friend Christy Michaels, who I'll bring on a little bit later on during our after show, but I want to make sure that everybody knows about what she's doing tomorrow night. It's a vision for peace, healing for America, and she's got some wonderful people joining her, many of whom you recognize from our shows. Dr. Marty Casey, she'll be on my show next weekend. Kiri Malkin, incredible musical artist. Santan De La Vie, Gail Muldrow, Wanza, who we had before. So that's going to be tomorrow night at 6 p.m., Healing America, A Vision for Peace. And then I want to let people know about what's happening on the Awakening World next weekend. And next weekend, we're tackling a really important topic. One of the things that I've really enjoyed doing with the Awakening World is having time to really deal with difficult issues. And so next weekend, please join us. It's very important. Social and racial justice. Truth, consequences, hopefully reconciliation. And I've invited some of the most amazing teachers. Sharif Abdullah is going to be with us. Reverend Bridge Feltus, Pato and Antoinette, Dr. Brenda Wade. Wonderful music with Nina Gray, my friend Oshola D. It's going to be powerful. And Ivy Hilton is going to be joining us for a third week in a row. 3 straight weeks of Ivy. So please join us next Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. Then the last announcement to make in terms of upcoming events is that the Global Peace Tribe does special events where we bring some of our favorite luminary authors and speakers, especially with them. And we are doing 90 minutes with Deepak Chopra on March 7th. And I've got a little video that I'd like to show you that tells you a little bit more about that.
Abundance is the nature of the universe. In every seed is the promise of thousands of forests.
Global Peace Tribe is going live with New York Times best-selling author Deepak Chopra on Monday, March 7th, 2022.
The book was inspired by a quote from Bob Marley, which said, some people are so poor, all they have is money. I decided to write a book based on that quote. Abundance in all its forms includes security and safety. It includes sensual and sensory delight. It includes the progressive realization of worthy goals. It includes the ability to have love and compassion. It includes creative expression, insight, intuition, imagination, higher consciousness, and ultimately it includes transcendence. If you understand those principles, which in the Eastern wisdom tradition are the 7 chakras, which are centers of awareness, and if you learn to activate those centers of awareness, you can have all the abundance in your life that you want at every level, not just money.
Dr. Chopra will offer his vibrant wisdom and summarize valuable keys to success for manifesting wealth on all levels. He'll also lead us in a guided meditation, and he'll answer your questions. Registration for this event includes admission, your copy of the book, and also a replay of the book launch live recording.
And if you're not experiencing abundance, you've confused net worth with self-worth. If you have real self-worth, your net worth will be a byproduct of it.
Don't miss this chance for a close personal experience with Deepak Chopra on Monday, March 7th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Register at deepaksbooklaunch.com or at our main website, globalpeacetribe.com. And remember to tell your friends. You won't want to miss this very special gathering.
Thank you so much for asking me to join this conversation. Very grateful to you.
Thank you, Deepak. And that's going to be really fun. And again, it's going to be a Zoom meeting, which means that people will have the option to turn their cameras on, directly connect with Deepak. So that's going to be very, very beautiful. Then I also want to let people know, last weekend we had a wonderful weekend with the Global Coherence Pulse and our friend Teresa Collins, who did, as always, there's Teresa. Fantastic. So I'm going to add you, Teresa. And because you've got something coming up with Sister Jenna, the next Global Coherence Pulse, which I've got right here. Tell us a little bit about that.
I just love that really from the beginning, Scott. We've all been contributing to a current of connection in the community. We did the Rest in Resonance with Gary early on. We had the 7 days of Rest in Sacred Renewal. Our pulses and Your Awakening World. We've just been creating this space where we can come together and be in the practice and in the experience of cultivating greater coherence and awareness. And I just love that we actually had Dr. Ivey last week, and Dr. Ivey, oh my God, I was bowing at the end. Like I wanted silence because the command of the space and inviting us into experiencing it. Beautiful, my sister. I can't wait for more. And Sister Jenna, the 222 meditation. And now here you are. And now you're coming on the Pulse in March. It's like there's something around our connection with the divine and our telling of our stories that seems to be part of what's needed most right now. So we're excited. The Global Coherence Pulse has Sister Jenna next week. And I just sent Kristin Hoffmann an email saying, do you want to be the guest artist? Like, how perfect would that be? And maybe Ivy, you come too, and we create an experience together, right? Like, wouldn't that be fun? Let's keep the momentum going of this opportunity to come together in a safe space to experience the awakening world and the cultivation of coherence for the good of the whole. Like everybody's all coming together.
Beautiful.
It's all about that vibe.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa.
It's all about that vibe.
You've done such
Love
a
you,
good job.
Teresa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Well, that is almost the end. We're actually ending early. That's like the first time ever. But we've got a really beautiful and powerful after show coming up. And the after show is going to be dedicated to prayers for peace for Ukraine. So please do join us tonight for a very powerful after show. Fanny and Vigari, the Mystiques, are going to come and they're going to play some music. And we're going to pray. And I'm going to share some of the beautiful stories that people have provided in the chat box, all about the divine. And I'm going to play a video of Kristen's Sweet Divine song one more time too. So please stay with us for the after show. And I need to stop the recording and then start the after show recording. But for anybody who is leaving, thank you for watching this main show, and stick around for the after show, please.